And now something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside Los
Angeles. I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality?
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey guys, welcome to the broadcast. Phone number tonight, 888-659-3727. Phone systems are up and running again, so you don't have to do any Skype calls like you've been doing for the last few weeks. Great to be back, and it's great to be here on a Tuesday night, for crying out loud. God, tucked away on Sunday nights for the last 14 years. Finally get a break with this little hair loss show. But listen, if you're new to the broadcast, don't know who I am or why I'm here, I am a consumer advocate for men and women suffering with hair loss, believe it or not. I'm the author of The Bald Truth and the Truth About Women's Hair Loss. And, you know, we've been doing the show for a very long time. And I say this a lot, but, you know, when I first got on the air back in New York on WABC radio, no one believed that this program would last. And as a matter of fact, I couldn't even pay my way to get on the air back then. And I got a lucky break. They put us on weekends, and I guess the rest is history. But with that said, the reason why we're able to do this broadcast every week for so many years is because 200,000 of you wake up every day realizing that you're losing your hair. And where are you guys going to turn? What do you know, there's the infomercials, there's the stuff in the back of magazines. Obviously, there's the internet, which is a complete cesspool of misinformation. You know, the good news is that there's some great information online, but it's very difficult to kind of decipher and sift your way through unless you are empowered with the information that we provide here at The Bald Truth. But we're here because there's so many of you that need advice, that need our help, that are dealing with hair loss. And, you know, sadly, society doesn't allow us to talk about this issue. So people are being ripped off and disfigured every single day. There's so much misinformation when it comes to hair loss that it's mind-boggling because, you know, it's a $3.5 billion a year industry, and 99% of all products being sold just don't work. Complete bullshit. Will not help you any way, shape, or form. And, you know, I was thinking about just today, I was going through some of the emails, not through the American Hair Loss Association, not through the IHRS, but through the Bald Truth, through the radio show page. And it's astonishing to me. It's still, it never changes. Yes, there is better information out there and people are finding it. But still, most of the questions from the newbies, from the guys who are just starting off, are so typical. They are being guided in the wrong direction by infomercials. They're considering large chain hair transplant clinics, thinking that what they're going to be getting is, you know, a state-of-the-art hair transplant procedure because these companies have been able to buy the public's opinion through advertising. And it seems that, you know, while we've been out there for a long time and we have a lot of great resources, it's an uphill battle. And that's why we continue to do what we do. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. Now, there's been some talk. We're actually going to be talking about it more on Bald Truth Talk. But tomorrow, actually, we're doing another live hair transplant procedure with Dr. Alan Bauman, who is obviously an IHRS-accepted member, a big friend and fan. I think he's a fan. I'll ask him when I get him on the air, of The Bald Truth. And, you know, just all around great hair transplant surgeon. And we've been kind of doing different events over the years. I think that it was him and I actually did the first live hair transplant event. And now there are other doctors who are doing some stuff through The Bald Truth and trying to go out there and, get this information to the public through, different types of, live streaming resources, which I think is incredible. But the reason why I think the reason why I think, and I'm going to ask Alan when I get him on the air, that he wants to do this is obviously to kind of shed some light on the reality of surgical hair restoration and let people know that it's now a viable option for a lot more people than once, than I guess we once thought were, really great candidates. And I'll tell you why, because now a lot of doctors are kind of, I'm not going to say crossing over, but they're evolving their practice and incorporating different techniques, not just follicular unit transplantation, but follicular unit extraction. And Dr. Bauman is probably one of the first docs that I know who actually embraced this technique many years ago when it was kind of being brought to the attention of the industry. And I'm going to take Dr. Bauman's call in a second. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. It's probably like 110 degrees in the studio right now. So if I take off my shirt, don't be alarmed because I'm sweating profusely right now, and I'm very uncomfortable. Let me take some water. We have a full board. I'm pretty sure Joe from Staten Island is on the line. What I'm going to do is, before I take Dr. Bauman's call, I'm going to say hi to Joe real quick so he doesn't off himself. And let's see, actually, if this is Joe. Hey, Joe, is that you? Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
I just want to thank, Highlander. I want to thank Flight LT. And I want to thank Ed from Staten Island and many people who've, emailed on the baldtruthtalk.com were concerned about my health. I was really moved by that, Spencer, and your email.
Well, that's why I wanted to take your call first, because I knew you were holding on for like 20 minutes before the broadcast, and I wanted to take your call, to ask you how your health was, and to let you know that we're going to have to kind of put you on hold for a while I take Dr. Bauman, and of course, the guy that's actually having surgery tomorrow, who is a really well-known Palm Beach radio personality. His name is Kevin Rolston, and he does their morning show on 95.5 in Palm Beach, and he's willing to actually go public with his hair transplant, let the world know that he's having this done, do it basically on his show, and of course streamed on the internet through the Bald Truth and through some other resources. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Can we call in tomorrow on this? Or?
If you're home, call in. You can ask him some questions. Absolutely. That's what we're doing.
No, I mean, is it open to the Bald Truth community? That's what I meant.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's open to the Bald Truth community because we're going to be streaming it through the Bald Truth and through GFQ and through some other resources.
What time tomorrow? Can you please tell us what time tomorrow?
Yeah, it's 12 Eastern.
12 Eastern, okay.
Yeah. But actually, the stream's going to start earlier, so I can let Dr. Bauman tell you guys, where you can find the stream, his personal stream, and also you can I think you can see it on the radio station's website, but we'll be talking about that. But I wanted to take your call very quickly, just to see how you're doing.
Request. When you have time later, please let me talk to Dr. Bauman. I have some questions to ask him, if you don't mind.
No, I can't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understand.
I'm just joking, Joe. So you're feeling okay?
Well, all I could say is I want to thank everybody. My health is very precarious, and I just hope I live to see a cure. That's all I really have to say.
Now you're going to leave me with that shit. I'm going to take these guys, and I'm going to worry about what's happening. Give me some news. What's happening with your health?
Well, I went to my cardiologist yesterday, and that's degrading my heart. As far as the kidney, I have to go for another test.
All right. So what's up with your heart? What's going on with your heart?
Well, I now have 4 leaky valves. I have major cardiac blockages, and they say I need surgery ASAP. But what the hell? I'm too busy with this L'Oreal stuff. Did I tell you?
Jesus. All right, listen. I'm going to put you on hold, all right, and I'll let you talk to these guys in a minute.
And
all right?
Thanks again, man. I appreciate your concern.
Okay, you got it. And I think this is Dr. Bauman. All right, without further ado, let me bring on Dr. Alan Bauman, IHS accepted member, and we're going to talk about tomorrow's live hair transplant. And I think, and I'm not sure because I didn't have time to screen the call, one of these calls is Kevin Rolston, and I will kind of rifle through them and see what line he's on. But let me see if this is Dr. Bauman. Hey, Dr. B, is that you?
Hey, Spencer, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, man? Long time.
I've been doing good. I've been doing fine.
Haven't had you on the show in a while.
I know it's been too long, man.
Yeah. So let's. I'm gonna try to see if I'm gonna lock you in. I'm gonna see if this is Kevin and see if I can pot you both up at the same time.
Okay.
Hey, is this Kevin?
Yeah, this is Kevin. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Doing good. What's up, Dr. B? How you doing, bud?
Hey, Kevin. I'm doing fine.
Kevin, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you first.
Yeah.
All right? Do you mind, Dr. B?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Kevin, so what's the story? I saw your images. Dr. Bauman sent me your pictures, and while you do have, you have some hair loss for sure. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a hair transplant, but what made you at this point in your life? I know that you're about 40 years old. Decide you want to go. You want to go this route. Were you trying to treat it before? Were you concerned about it for a long time, and now you're like, okay, it's time to get something done?
Yeah, you know what? The hair loss thing, for me, it's been something that's been in my head for a long time, going all the way back to, probably when I was like a teenage guy. I had this picture of my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, that was hanging on the wall in the hall, and the dude had no hair. And I saw that all the time. And, especially, then they would really drone into you, be like, oh, okay, well, if you want to see if you're going to be bald or not as a guy, let's see what happens with your maternal grandfather. And so I saw that, and I always played it in my head. And I said, man, I don't like the way that looks. And I knew that, if I ever got to that point, or if I started to lose hair, I'm like, I'm going to do everything I can to keep it. But, I don't want the whole stigma of having a rug. I mean, those are, we always made fun of, guys with bad rugs and ridiculous looking hair. And I said, I don't want to do anything that's ridiculous like that. So when I was 25...
Now, let me ask you a question. How do you know I'm not wearing a ridiculous rug?
You know what? Because here's the thing. Some guys, you can't have a good hairpiece, but there are some guys that have. You've seen it.
I'm just fucking with you. I'm just putting you on the spot, dude. I'm just fucking with you.
I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but it's like that's what that was to me, a hairpiece. That's what I always think of. I think of somebody with completely detectable and noticeable, a rug on their head. And I didn't want to be. I grew up in. And, in a part of the country and with friends that, man, we would just rip each other to shreds. You would look for a flaw and you would just pick it apart. And maybe I need to find new friends, but that was in my head, too.
I think most guys are pretty brutal, man, especially when it comes to this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, and this is kind of what finally drove me to this now. It was when I was 25, I was doing a radio promotion. I was doing some kind of karate thing, and I'd bent over to break a board. Somebody snaps a photo. Always a camera around these days. Right. And I see the top of my head. I notice, wow, because you don't often look at the top of your head.
Right. And
I noticed from the photo that I'm starting to lose hair. And so I started to freak out a little bit. And that's when I really started doing a little bit of research. And so this is something that I'm not going to lose my hair. And I found out about Dr. Bauman. And I just kind of strolled into his office one day. And I was 25. And probably, like how some people are hypochondriacs, I'm that way about hair. And I sat down and I said, hey, I got this, I'm starting to get a bald spot. And he told me, he said, hey, look, you don't need a hair transplant today. He said, but here's something you can do that is going to slow your hair loss. And he put me on Propecia. And I rode that for, I don't know, I guess it's 12, 13 years.
Right.
And I was at a base game, spring training.
You're breaking up, dude.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
You got me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm doing a spring training baseball game with the two people I do my radio show with in Palm Beach, and I hear the whole row, and it's not just them, but I hear a whole row of people behind me, and they're all laughing. I'm like, okay, because I do a show with the kind of people that make fun of you a lot too,
right.
And so I turn around to see what they're laughing at, and I look at them, and they're like trying to hide their cell phones. So I'm like, all right, what are you guys looking at? And so I pull their phone down, and look, and they were snapping photos of a now very pronounced bald spot on the top of my head, and they're putting it on Facebook and on our fan page.
Oh, man, that is brutal. That is so painful, man.
And so about
and the thing is, and you have to laugh about it. You have to kind of man up and make it like it's no big deal.
Yeah, and that's all I did. Because that's what we do. Hey, trust me, I rip on them. It goes both ways. But you turn it over to listeners, and our listeners they give us a hard time too. So 300 comments later of people just every possible diss you can think of a guy with balding hair, and they make fun of all the other attributes I have as well. I finally said, you know what? Okay, I'm getting to that point, and it's the point now where when I brush my teeth, I look in the mirror, and I've got one of these things. I got two mirrors side by side, so the reflection bounces all over the place. And all I see every time I look up after brushing my teeth is what is now a noticeable amount of hair loss. And you can start to see, I'm starting to get like that. It's kind of like I'm getting like the toilet seat look.
I know what you're talking about.
You can see it starting to pop. It's like, I'm every single day I'm looking more and more like Dr. Phil, and it's like, I can't let this happen. So I called up Dr. Bauman, and I said, Doc, I think it's about time for something. So.
Now, I mean, do you think if Dr. Phil was listening, you think you might have hurt his feelings?
Are we all sensitive on this show? 'Cause, what?
No, you know what? I mean, listen, I get it, and I wouldn't, if I wasn't so effed up about hair, I wouldn't be doing this for a living. This is what I do. And while there's a lot of people who are all sensitive about it, we try to have fun. We try to have fun with it too, and just say, listen, man, it is what it is. There's life after hair loss, but we're trying to do whatever we can. At least most of the guys that are listening to this program are trying to do whatever they can to save what they have and to do, and to work with what they have. And you're one of those guys. Yeah. But you got to be self-deprecating. You got to make fun of yourself. I mean, I call myself the Harry Houdini of the comb over, and that probably wouldn't be that's not such a sexy title. But it is what it is. This is who I am.
You have a great thing in your show open. I love that little joke they have. This is kind of like God's way of saying, all right, good luck now trying to get laid.
Yeah, now let's see you get laid.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the way I feel about this. And, the industry that I'm in, radio today, it's not like radio back in the 60s and the 70s when you got to hide behind a microphone and, nobody knew what you looked like. And if you ever did, you'd be like, wow, that's not at all what I expected. I mean, now everything's multimedia.
That's right.
And there's always a camera around. Our show is broadcast. In fact, tomorrow, the hair transplant we're going to be doing is going to be on our KVJ TV, which is every single day our show is broadcast live on the web with 3 HD cameras that point out my bald spot.
Sure.
And the whole thing is going to be a simulcast right on that. So, today, being in radio, you're, in the visual medium. And, we got billboards up all around South Florida, and you can't get away from it. So, it's something that's, in my line of work, you need to do, and I felt was very important.
Well, I mean, but yeah, and I agree. In your line of work, I was on radio. I was on terrestrial radio for 12 years, satellite radio for 3 years, doing internet broadcasting since 1998. And now it's all camera. And I do the hair loss show, so everyone's actually scrutinizing me all the time. So I get all kinds of shit. And listen, it is what it is. But, you're talking about doing it for your career. I mean, you're doing it for you're personal. You're personally invested in this too, because you were saying that it was bothering you since you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely something. Yeah, I mean, and I had no idea you knew Dr. Bauman for almost 15 years or 15 years. Listen, Dr. B, you're on the air, right?
I'm with you. I'm still with you.
So I mean, you hear the same story every single day. I mean, obviously, it seems like Kevin's a little better equipped to deal with hair loss than some other guys might be.
Well, no doubt about it, and maybe sometimes the the banter that goes on maybe desensitizes you to it a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Kevin could say that, but the interesting thing about Kevin is that he did the right thing though. He started early treatment at the earliest possible time that he could, and it really held the fort for like a decade. I mean, there are a lot of guys out there that just seem to delay and put off the fact that they have hair loss going on, and they lose a lot of hair in the interim.
Right. Actually,
Kevin, can you imagine what it would be like if you didn't go on the medical therapy? I mean, if you didn't take Propecia for 10 years?
I think Kevin's phone just crapped out because he just dropped.
Oh, did it drop?
Yeah. So tell me about his. Okay, I took a look at his images. Hold on, let me see if I could make this happen. All right, yeah, I took a look at his images, and while he has significant hair loss, it's still, he's don't take this the wrong way, Kevin, but he's a good-looking guy. He looks pretty good with the amount of hair that he has, and yes, it's going to make a significant difference, I think, if you shore up his hairline for sure, and add some density in the mid-anterior scalp. But I think, in my view, he's the type of guy that can kind of take it or leave it and probably go on with his life. I don't know how affected he is by it, but I think doing it the way that he's doing it, you're right. He's doing it the right way. Went in for Propecia, slowed things down for a long time, might not have halted his hair loss. Obviously, he's continuing to progress, and now he wants to go in and get what I consider to be one of the a very minimally invasive procedure, and hopefully come away with a much thicker head of hair.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, by looking at his scalp, we can see that his hair loss is really very demarcated. And what I mean by that is that there's not a whole lot of miniaturization going on.
Right.
And that's pretty typical of a guy who's a good responder and very compliant with Propecia. So even though the bald spot is small, it's still pretty bare, but there's not a lot of super thinning going on around it. And so that's pretty good for his age, a guy in his 40s. Yeah. He's in a really good place. He'll get a very nice response from the procedure in that crown area, and also the little bit that we're going to do at the hairline. It's not going to take much, but it's really going to reframe his face. So I think he's going to get a big bang for the buck from the work that we do. And look, it's not like my dad needed 6,000 grafts to restore his head of hair. Kevin's not going to need anything close to that. In fact, he'll probably get away with less than Nault and even Greg Benson.
Yeah, well, I'm just judging from his pictures, and the fact is they're pictures, so I haven't seen him in person. Yep. It looks like he's going to be a great candidate, and like you said, he's probably going to be be able to utilize less grafts to really get a great result. Guy in the chat room is asking if Kobren has Tourette's. Yes, as a matter of fact, I have a relatively slight movement disorder. I can't believe it took you this long to figure it out. So the answer is yes. Let me see if this is.
It must be must be the HD camera there. That's now it's not the jittering anymore.
Right. Now they can actually see the twitches. I don't know who this. I hope this is Kevin. Let me see. Hey, Kevin, man, is that you?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I mean, listen. I took a look at your pictures. Like I said, I mean, to me, you can kind of go either way. It's really up to you. But you definitely, in my view, as an expert in this field, but not as a physician. You make a great candidate for this procedure, and I think you're going to come away with a really good result.
I'm really excited about it. Like what Dr. Bauman was saying there is a lot of it is just about filling in. And the one thing that maybe Dr. Bauman can comment on is at what stage and how did you say, because you said to me, you said, okay, we think it's time for you to do the hair transplant. How do you look at somebody and say that, okay, yeah, now is a good time for you to do it? Because you had talked too about some people being really kind of almost too far gone to do the procedure.
Well, it's maybe not that they're too far gone, but that they would have inappropriate expectations of what a single procedure or two procedures could provide. Every patient is completely different in terms of how much hair loss affects them, and also how much hair loss is affecting their scalp. I mean, literally, are there areas that are totally bare that would could be covered with a transplant? And if there's a location like your crown zone where there's really very, very little hair growing out of it, I mean, the only way to fix it is with a transplant. I mean, there's you can't sit around waiting for minoxidil or Propecia or laser therapy to regrow an area where the follicles are dead and gone. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So I was saying before that your hair loss is very, very well demarcated, meaning that where you've lost hair, it's like almost completely bare. And then there's just a little bit of miniaturization around that zone, but the rest of your hair is pretty darn good. And I believe that's due to you being on the medical therapy for so long, that you've been a good responder to it.
Let me ask you, are you married? Are you a married man? You with somebody?
Yeah, I'm married. Yep.
And what does your wife think? What does your wife think about it?
She's giving me. I've got a whole conspiracy theory about this. She's my wife is somebody that is very well put together. She does the yoga. She, in fact, obsesses about her weight. She's a very good-looking woman. I was very fortunate. And she kind of gives me a hard time. She's like, this is ridiculous. She's like, just shave your head, save the money. It's not a big deal. Why are you messing with this? But I swear, sometimes, and I think this is something that women do, either consciously or subconsciously, that sometimes they don't want their guy to look good because they feel like, okay, you know what, it's not going to be as competitive out there for him. And my wife probably would not admit it if I had her on, and I've grilled her on this before, I think even on my radio show, that I think secretly or even in her head, she's like, you know what, if he doesn't look that good, there's not as much competition. I don't have to worry so much about other women checking him out.
Well, I agree with that, actually. I think it goes beyond that. I actually think that, when you walk into a room with your wife, they don't want any competition with you. They don't want you to be the more attractive or even close to being as attractive as they are. That's why I think my wife, and I recently lost a significant amount of weight, kind of wanted to keep me heavy. I really felt that because she's a fitness
agree.
person. You know, she's been a fitness model. She's a fitness competitor. She is absolutely gorgeous. And you would think that a woman like that would want her man to be totally jacked and in really great shape. Never seemed that way to me. So I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think a lot of women are that way. So yeah, so her reaction has been, she started to warm up to it, I think, recently because she realizes how much it does mean to me. But yeah, I think for the most part, yeah, that's been her initial reaction. I think that's why.
Now, what about, do you have children?
Yeah, I got 3 kids.
Okay, and are they old enough to know what's happening?
Yeah, I got 2 14-year-olds. I got one that's 4, and he has no clue. But yeah, you know, they give me a hard time a little bit. Yeah, we're kind of like the family's kind of like everybody in my life. You know, everybody gives everybody a hard time. So you know, they're kind of, you know, poking some fun at me and asking if I'm look like Frankenstein. And,
well, that's the thing.
Know,
I was wondering if your wife thought that, you know, like, man, this is a bad idea. I know what hair transplants look like. You don't want to do this, because the perception of hair transplants and hair, you know, surgical hair restoration really still, sadly, is the old pluggy doll's hair look. Or even, you know, with some of the newer techniques, they weren't that great in the last, you know, even 5 years ago. I mean, there were still doctors doing mini and micros.
Yeah.
And I mean, there still are today, sadly. But
I completely agree. Well, you know, I mean, you look at a lot of the poster children that you've had for it. I think the people that you know that have done hair transplant, whether it be a Bret Michaels from Poison or something like that, and he's talked about his baby doll hair, and that dude still always wears a bandana.
Yeah.
You know, those are the kind of people that you know, and the people that you don't know. Like, we were doing this on our radio show. We were calling out celebrities' names, and I was asking the people on my show, do you know if they've gotten a hair transplant or not? Like a Matthew McConaughey, a Nick Lachey. These are guys that have done hair transplants, and
as a expert in the field, I'm going to have to disagree with Matthew McConaughey.
Have you seen the before and after photos? You don't think he's done a hair transplant?
I definitely think that if you look at his latest wedding photo and if you kind of see the way things have been consistently with him, there are times he's not wearing hair. So in my view, and Dr. B, you may disagree with me, in my view, he wears a really great, either a lace or a very thin polyurethane prosthetic a lot of the times. And in his latest on the cover of People, just, you know, when did he get married? 2 weeks ago? He was pretty bald. And he just decided not to wear it. What do you think, Dr. B?
You know, I don't read People, but my wife has the magazine, and I was checking it out. I was trying to look and see what was going on there. You know, the hairline is a little bit high, but there's definitely that old photo of him, you know, when he was, you know, he was arrested. That mugshot has him at his worst, you know, and that's when everybody compares him to.
Yeah, but if you're sweaty, you're drinking, I mean, your hair's going to look like crap, especially if it gets a little moist. So it's probably,
yeah,
you know,
the photo I saw, it looked like he had, you know, the traditional signs of hair loss. I mean, he's definitely losing. In the photo that was taken after it, he's done something, and maybe you're right. Maybe it's some kind of different prosthetic piece that he's put in there, but he's definitely using something.
Oh, absolutely.
To fill it there.
So Spencer, the other thing that I was thinking of was that, you know, a lot of these, you know, the models, especially in Hollywood types, they don't let photos out unless they've had them reviewed by their publicist and done by their own photographers and things like that. I mean, these are his wedding photos. So, you know, he definitely wanted to put that out there as it was. Now, I don't think you're going to be able to tell in this day and age if it's been photoshopped.
Yes, you're right about that.
A lot of these pictures are photoshopped. I mean, some of the pictures, I can't remember the guy who did like some kind of, he did like a cologne commercial or something like that, advertisement, and they just recreated his entire hairline.
Right. Well, part of me, you know, thinks that, you know, maybe he said, you know what, this is my wedding. I want to be completely authentic. And he decided not to wear his frontal hairpiece if that's what he is actually doing. And you're right. If the picture could have been touched up to some degree, so he could actually look worse than he did in that picture. But in that picture, he is a balding man. And in very recent images that you see of him out here in Malibu or wherever, he has a completely full head of, you know, beautiful hair. So, I mean, it doesn't happen overnight unless, you know, whatever medication he was on.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, it certainly doesn't happen overnight. So I'm going to have to take a look at those pictures and see what I think. But, you know, you may be right. I mean, you know, a lot of those lace hair pieces are pretty darn good. But well,
especially
you know,
in an image, you're not going to, you know, if you're looking at somebody, even at a social distance, if you're in the business, you know what's going on. But on a picture or on video, it's hard to tell, especially if it's really good. So,
right, and if the photo's been retouched to smooth out the lace,
Yes.
That's kind of what I was thinking. That maybe.
Well, look, no one knew it. No one, and I'm sure you talked about this on your radio show, Kevin. No one knew what the hell was going on with John Travolta for years. Some days he's painting his entire head. Some days he has a lace system on.
Yeah. Right. What does he do? I mean, because that was the one where we didn't really have any. I don't think he's done a hair transplant, but you never know because he's all over the place with hair, then not hair, and.
In my view, he hasn't done one, and Dr. Bauman could chime in a second.
I agree.
But what he does is he has a very, depending on the situation, either he has a really bad, in my view, chalky spray paint job that he walks around with, or he wears a lace hair system at times. Right, Doc? What do you think about that, Doc?
Yeah,
right?
I've seen the lace, the photos of the lace. So they do, Daily Mail or whatever catches him, coming out of his house, and they snap the pictures and do an up close view of the hairline, and you can see the poly lace or whatever it's called.
But what I like about him, what he does is he kind of he's pretty relatively open about it. Well, and not open. He doesn't answer direct questions about it, but he'll walk out in his world, in his life, without his hair on, and he'll do movies without his hair on.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the movie Savages, I just saw it the other day. I mean, he's bald. It's funny. He's significantly bald, but if you look closely, the makeup people still tinted his head slightly, so he didn't look quite as starkly bald as he actually would. So that's a weird thing, when people compare themselves to celebrities, you don't know what the F is going on with these celebrities. You really don't, unless you're kind of in the industry. So there's a lot of misinformation out there. Hey guys, we got some calls on the line. I'm going to keep you. Try to keep you guys all conferenced in. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, it's Naltz, the other Kevin.
Oh, Jesus. How are you, man?
Hey, hello. Great to talk to you. You look great. Congratulations on your weight loss.
Thank you.
And Kevin, congratulations for your big day tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's kind of surreal. Still hasn't set in, but I'm very excited about it.
So, Kevin Nolte, tell me about what's going on with your hair, man. I haven't seen you in a long time. I'm sorry,
I can't step away from the mirror.
Yeah. Oh, I know how it is.
I'm just stuck on the mirror.
Well, that's what. So, how's your wife dealing with that? I mean, are you going out?
She loves it. I mean, the people now are starting to recognize it because it's been, it's coming on, I think 9 months since the second hair transplant. So it's usually, if it's somebody I haven't seen in a while, it's usually the first thing they say.
Right.
And
what do they say? They say how great you look, or what the hell's going on with your hair?
Yeah, no, how good it looks.
All
yeah,
right.
and now it's gotten to the point too where I can look back, like we were looking at like wedding photos, and when we were having our first kids like 13 years ago, and usually you're looking back at old photos and you're like, oh God, I've fallen apart since then. But it's really funny to go back and look at pictures of my daughter. She's 13 now, when she was born, and I'm like, wow, I look better now.
Yeah. That's a great feeling, man.
So, Kevin, I saw your tweet that you got a knot in the stomach, you're a little worried. And the first question I always get is, did it hurt? And my answer is not any more than my friggin' cold sore that I've got right now.
Right.
Really?
It's just not a big deal.
It's probably a lot less than a herpes outbreak, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell, and this is one thing. I really didn't even talk to Dr. Bauman about this because but right after I announced it on the radio that I was going to be doing the hair transplant, I get a call from one of my listeners, and I don't know who's messing with me and who's not, and they were telling me, they're like, man, the day after, a couple days after, you're going to be in so much pain and agony, and the woman's like, my husband did this, and he's miserable now. It took him like weeks, and the hair never came back. He wears a ball cap. And she's in my head about like, she's like, you think you're just going to rebound the next day? She's like, you're going to be laid out for like 4 or 5 days in excruciating pain. And it's in my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean,
yeah, you know what? This woman's husband probably went to one of those guys that has like a radio jingle on one of your stations.
He does them in the basement.
Yeah. I mean, there is a guy out there, I'm not going to mention his name, that has this awesome jingle, Dr. B. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. B, you need a jingle. Either Kevin and I can work on that for you.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to sing it, but it sticks in my head. And something sometimes, like I'll go to the site if someone complains about this doctor, and as soon as you get on that site, the jingle comes up. And I'm like, I think to myself, how are people this foolish to actually have a cosmetic procedure performed by a guy that has a jingle on the radio? You know, it's mind-boggling.
I mean, obviously, and the procedures that this person may be talking about is really the old school stuff. You got to realize that maybe it's an old style, linear harvest or stitches or something like that. Nultz, I don't think you took a pain pill the next day at all. I don't think.
No, I didn't need to. Except for leisure.
Yeah, he does it for fun.
Leisure.
Yeah.
but very nice.
Just because I would have anyway.
Right.
No, it's like my brother said. I don't waste my pain pills when I'm in pain.
Right.
But no, honestly, the only thing I had was, and I sat out in the sun like he told me not to do when I was down in Florida. But the only thing I had was a little bit of itching. That wasn't pain. And people think when I was working on Propecia, and I went to the first Hair Transplant Society meeting and saw the little Petri dishes full of hair cut up in parts, I almost got dizzy and said, no, this is never going to happen. But the FUE and the whole thing, it was, it was like, what I liken it to is it's like if you're wearing one of those bike helmets and somebody's tapping on the top of it, that's about as painful as it felt.
Yeah, I would say that the vast majority of people that actually have FUE procedure, and to be honest with you, Dr. B, even with really state of the art, follicular unit transplants today, if someone goes in for a strip, pain management is pretty great now, and even though obviously recovery is a little longer and it's more painful than FUE, all in all, any state of the art hair transplant today is not going to be very painful.
Yeah, no, and that's absolutely right. Even though the bulk of what we do is FUE today, I did see my patient who we did a linear harvest on. It was like the fourth one that we did this whole year. And she took a pain pill at night, but by the morning she was doing fine.
Yeah, so I don't think, Kevin...
90% of the FUE patients, they don't even take a narcotic pain pill that night.
Yeah, I would say that probably the worst thing that he's going to deal with, and these are the complaints that we get, and Kevin Nolte just mentioned it, some people get pretty significant itching, and that's just part of the healing process, especially the first couple of days. But I think that could be controlled too, right, Doc, to some degree?
Well, absolutely. One of the things that I've always been focused on as my background in surgery is the wound healing process. So we do a lot of different things to get the wound healing process underway, to kind of accelerate you through it, whether it's from low-level laser therapy, in some cases hyperbaric oxygen treatments, but even just the stuff that we spray onto the scalp, we're using PRP now as a biologic bandage after the surgery, and that seems to heal the skin a lot faster, decreasing inflammation. The skin tone comes back more quickly. The skin seems more intact, many days sooner than without that without those adjuncts.
Whatever you're doing now with all the sprays, lotions, and other products you gave me when I left, I think that the scarring healed faster this time than even a year or so ago.
Scabbing. Nultz had his procedure like a year apart from each other, and it's not uncommon for patients to say that when they come back even after a year or two for another procedure, they say, wow, it was even better than the first, or easier.
So, Kevin Rolston, are you, you get anybody who's going through any type of procedure, even if you're going to the dentist to have something done, there's going to be some, nerves. But, as far as, doing your research, speaking to a guy like Kevin Nolte, speaking to us, does it allay your fears, or are you even more concerned?
I really don't have a lot of fear, to be honest with you. I've got a world of confidence in Dr. Bauman, just because, and the one thing that I find amazing is how many people actually care about losing hair. And through the course of 10 or 12 years, I did a lot of reading, a lot of studying. I knew all about the different hormones, that would affect the hair follicles, and it really was amazing how much I did read up in that time. And everything that I've heard from Dr. Bauman has been right on with everything that I've read, and just even seeing his name pop up in publications and things like that. It has given me a lot of confidence. Really, probably the only feeling that I have right now is just I'm kind of excited to do it. I'm excited to finally kind of get this thing done because it's something that, self-esteem and whatnot for me, it's just something that it really affected me. I'm ready to finally make the change and get it, going in a positive direction for once. I was dreaded looking in the mirror.
Yeah, listen, you're calling the right place. It affected me to the point when I started to lose my hair at 21 that I turned my Achilles heel into a career. And I will tell you that, you mentioned that you can't believe how many people are concerned about this and really interested in this. It's a silent epidemic of tremendous proportions. And honestly, there's not a person, there are guys who are better equipped to deal with it, but there's not a guy that I've ever met that once you break through that wall and start to talk about it, I mean, that's all they want to talk about. They want to get it off their chest because they haven't been allowed to talk about it. Society doesn't allow us to talk about it. You can't really, you talk about it with your wife a little bit, but then you become a pain in the ass to her. You can't talk about it to your brothers, family. No one's willing to really talk about it. So anytime there's an opportunity to talk about it, people want to talk. And you're telling me, you've been in radio for however many years. I've been on the radio doing this for 14 years, a hair loss show. And you're in radio, you understand the business. Imagine how insane that is for any program director to say, yeah, you know what? We're going to give you the green light for the hair loss show.
Yeah, the one thing that I found very interesting is there's an online radio trade publication. They sent out, just network news every single day. And I don't even know how. They picked up this story and they ran with it last week. And there's really been no update, and they did another story on it again today. It's been their top story, and I'm getting so many calls. And now another radio publication actually emailed me today. That guy who puts that on is losing his hair, and he's like, I'm going to do a story on this. He's like, so many people are completely fascinated. And right before I got on the call, Dr. Bauman, I don't know if you'd seen the stat, but they sent out, just kind of like the email blast, letting people know that I was going to be doing this procedure tomorrow and where. I think it was like 40 or 60,000 views. It already gotten in just a couple of hours. And, I think over 700-800 people had sat and clicked through it and read the whole thing. So it really is amazing. And, you doing the radio show, when they first told me, this guy's got a radio show about people losing their hair. And I'm like, really? But
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. I get it.
It does sound ridiculous, but you're right. I can't believe how much response I've gotten since I started talking about this. People who's come out of the woodworks. And I think what you were saying is so key is that, you can't sit down at a bar and start talking to your buddies about hair loss. It just doesn't seem to go very far.
Right.
But, when you talk to somebody that's serious about it, you really do want to hear, because the one thing I've learned talking to Dr. Bauman is how many different options there are. And hair transplant isn't the only, route to go. It's not like that's what you have to do. He had talked about being a hair loss consultant and taking somebody on who may be in their 20s that's losing hair and saying, you know what, for you, Propecia, minoxidil, this is your path. This is where you need to go. You don't need to go to the hair transplant route. So, I think hearing stuff like that is people are like, okay, that's good. I can do that. I can handle that.
Look, I've been on finasteride or Propecia. I actually use ProScar for it's going on 18 years. And I've been very fortunate with as far as my results and my ability to maintain my hair. But I say it all the time. I wear makeup on the back of my head. As insane as that sounds, I leave the house every day. I do my hair and put a little of this head paint on, and it gets me through my day. And I'm willing to talk about it. But imagine, and I talk about this, when I'm out, because everyone's always interested in what I'm doing, especially if they find out or if they know or somebody knows and their husband wants to ask a question, and the wife will come up to me and say, listen, my husband really wants to talk to you. And then if I'm explaining it to people and talking about what I do, all of a sudden I'm holding court. And I start to talk about what I do. People are like, well, what do you do with your hair? You have a lot of hair. How do you, And I explain what I do, and I paint my head, and these women look mortified. Imagine telling somebody, a buddy of yours or a girlfriend of yours, that you wear head makeup. But the truth is, these are all, options that people have so they can walk out into the world and feel comfortable in their own skin. The thing is, you got to own it. Whatever you decide to do. I mean, you don't sound like a guy who would paint his head. I could just tell. You would take too much shit. But if you didn't tell anybody, no one would know.
If I had on head paint, it wouldn't be worth it.
But Dr. B, you see me in person many times, and I have hairspray and whatever it is. As far as the head paint, most people would never tell unless you tell them that that you're wearing it, because if you have enough hair, it kind of blends in. But most people are just mortified. Yet that's a huge part of the $3.5 billion a year industry. I think Mark Kress makes I don't know how many millions of dollars he sells in a year. You might be more familiar with how much of that stuff sells.
I know that it's his top-selling product. And Ron Popeil, when he had his spray-on hair infomercial, he said later on that was his top-selling product ever. And Ron Popeil has sold a lot of rotisserie ovens.
You know what? He ruined it by the way that it was marketed. Now, obviously, he sold a lot. But if it was marketed in a different way, where it was kind of some sort of like tinted hairspray or something that was more palatable for society, then, this stuff could be sold at, it would have been sold in Rite Aid or wherever. But because, it's all about perception. But anyway, that's my life. I'm the guy who paints his head.
It is a crutch, though, Spencer. I mean, a lot of our patients come in, with cosmetic camouflage, and honestly, they want to stop using it. And
right.
So the way to stop using, head paint is to grow more hair.
So what are you saying?
Well, let me see how that head paint looks. Tilt down a little bit.
I'm starting to feel worse about myself. First, someone mentions my Tourette's. Because I'm a little nervous today, so it acts up.
Now we're picking on your bald spot.
Now they're going to pick on my bald spot. Let me give it the phone number, 888-659-3727. I'm going to let you guys go. I just wanted to, talk about what we're doing tomorrow briefly. And for those who are just tuning in, we're doing a live hair transplant event. And Dr. B, talk about how it's going to go throughout the day. Obviously, everyone can tune in through the Bald Truth for the live talk segment at 12.
Of course, a hair transplant takes a long time. So we've got, 8 hours of time ahead of us tomorrow in the morning. We're going to start our live feed at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. So at 7 a.m. Eastern.
I think Kevin just found out for the first time it's 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, we went through this, brother.
I know, I'm just giving you.
All right, cool, okay. So we're going to start the live feed on live stream. Now, remember that we did, a few years back, we did the first live hair transplant ever on the Internet. And
that's right.
We did the first FUE Neograft live on Stickcam. We did the first YouTube live. So I have to up the ante a little bit. So we're doing high definition this time on live stream. So
that's awesome.
People can tune in to livestream.com/hair transplant now.
All right.
That's the new channel.
I'll make sure that something's posted in the forum
that would be cool.
by the morning so that people can check that out. And,
right. And of course, you'll be sleeping, when we get started at 7 a.m. on East Coast.
Right.
It'll be the middle of the night for you. But
it depends. If I drink a lot tonight, I might not, it kind of interrupts my sleep.
Then you can stay up.
Yeah.
Stay up and tune in. You can watch our photos and planning session.
Right.
You can watch the local anesthetic going.
Look, that's really fun for me. Like, I haven't seen a million of those. I'm just kidding. I haven't seen it done on Kevin,
I want to let people know, too, I'm going to be, if anybody's doing Twitter, I'm going to have my phone on me the entire time. You can follow me at Kevin Rolston. It's ROLSTON. Or you can just do the hashtag, I think it's a live hair transplant. And we're going to have a whole conversation with that. So if anybody has any questions, and if you want to ask me any given second, how did that feel, or what are you feeling right now, I'm happy, and I will answer completely honestly.
Well, hopefully, if you're not on too many narcotics, we can actually have people speak with you through the show.
Oh, I hope even if I am on narcotics, that's going to be more entertaining. So.
Okay, because my partner is probably going to be on narcotics. He's going to be live in New York, so I think it'll be a good fit. Go ahead.
And then, of course, at noon, Spencer will hook up with you so that we'll go on. We'll be on the Bald Truth, obviously, at noontime Eastern. So
you're going to be on the Bald Truth. You'll be on GFQLive.tv. You're going to be on Stitcher Radio, iTunes Radio for the audio. You're going to be on Justin TV, Ustream.com, and all the other resources that we stream live on. So you're going to get a lot of viewers, and hopefully, people will have some good questions for you. And it'll be a lot of fun.
And so you'll have the phone lines open during that hour that
the phone lines will be open the entire hour. I'll be, talking to you guys. We'll be taking calls. People will be able to ask questions directly to both Kevin and Dr. B live. As long as you guys have all the audio set up, it should be, run perfectly smoothly.
Everything is tested and ready to go. The team from Discovery Channel was here. Dylan Yance and David Waters.
Oh, my God. With all the emails that I got, it was like we were launching a missile or something, or splitting the atom, for crying out loud. I was like, dude, just send me a good feed, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, we just wanted you to be up to speed on that. We tested everything.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate your professionalism, Doc, as always. All right, guys. So listen, check us out tomorrow. And Kevin Nolte, thanks so much for calling in. Don't be a stranger, man.
All right, my pleasure. It's good to talk to you again. Kevin, good luck tomorrow. And Dr. B, thanks again. I'll have to start posting some more after photos.
Yeah, post some more pics. I got that Instagram one over Twitter that looked great.
All right, guys. Well, listen, and Kevin, good luck tomorrow, man. We'll be
thank you.
We'll be watching.
Dr. Bauman, make sure you sleep really well tonight.
Usually he usually has a couple of beers when he's on the Bald Truth. I hope you're not drinking tonight, Doc.
No, good night's sleep. I'll have to cancel this bachelor party I was going to go to. But
yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, listen, we're going to take a break. Thanks so much for hanging out and calling in tonight. 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I'm Spencer Kobren. You're listening to and watching The Bald Truth. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
He's an international best-selling author, a contributing editor for Consumer Digest magazine, and the host of the longest-running reality radio show for men. I'd say he's the man.
And the truth shall set you free!
It's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Hey, guys, welcome back. Just got caught up reading the chat. Sorry about that. 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727, live from Los Angeles. I'm Spencer Kobren. This is the Hair Loss Show. We just had a guy who is going in for his first hair transplant tomorrow, Kevin Rolston, if that's how you pronounce his name. Rolston. I don't have it in front of me. And he is a very well-known Palm Beach area morning show radio personality. And you can tell he's been on the radio for a long time, just the way that he interacts with us on the show. And I wish him the best of luck. You guys can check out the Jesus Christ. You guys can check out the live feed tomorrow on thebaldtruth.com, gfqlive.tv, stickam.com, and all of our different resources. And of course, you can listen live if you are not able to. I don't know why you would want to listen live. It may be interesting. It's probably more interesting to watch it live, but you can listen on iTunes Radio and on Stitcher Radio, and that's it. Let me give out the phone number: 888-659-3727. I think this is Joe. We got some other calls on the line, but let's pot up Joe. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Hey, Spencer, I'm really upset, man. You're being viciously attacked in the chat room, and so your guest. It was pretty upsetting to me. I was fighting, all the way for you dudes.
There's a lot of assholes out there. You just have to realize it. This is what the internet's all about. You got to embrace it. I embrace it. Who you talking about? This guy Billy?
Well, I don't want to mention your name. You want me to mention your name? Yeah, Billy in particular. Maybe the guy has psychiatric problems.
Yeah.
I can't sort it out.
Prison pussy is a mustache and goatee. Yeah, well, there you go. Billy, you can make fun of me all you want, bro. You're watching the show. You're sitting behind your keyboard. You're sitting behind your desk, whatever you're doing. You're watching us do what we do. So that's why that's why he has the right to make fun of us.
I think he's possibly bipolar because he was nice at first, then he became vicious, started attacking you and me. All of a sudden, I don't know why.
Who gives a shit?
He didn't seem to like your guest. A lot of people in the chat room didn't like your guest for some reason. I don't know why.
That's the nature of the internet, bro. People, they have their own opinions. It's great. That's what it's all about.
Well, it kind of hurts my feelings, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd love to see. Who knows what the hell Billy looks like? Maybe the poor guy's like in a wheelchair or something. Just give him a break. You got to give. I give people the benefit of the doubt. They want to goof on you because you're out there, you're a public figure. They want to goof on you, Joe, because you're part of the show. They want to goof on my guests. I don't give a fuck. Just keep tuning in. Keep tuning in. Keep listening.
Your haters, man.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm always going to get plenty of haters.
Yeah, I know that.
But what do I give a shit? What do I care? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to finish this show. I'm going to go and I'm going to have a drink, maybe get some food. Possibly have, sex, if I'm lucky tonight, with, an incredibly beautiful woman. And, Billy's going to turn off his computer and cry himself to sleep. That's just life. I'm just fucking with you. I really hope that you have a great life. I'm just screwing around with you.
That I could attest to. Your wife is beautiful. As you know, I saw her a couple of weeks ago. But your bodyguards were horrifying. I still have nightmares about them.
Well, listen, whatever. I appreciate that, Joe. So tell me, you know what, Joe? I didn't get to play your opening tonight because we were so busy. So I'm going to play Joe's opening.
Thank you.
My name is
Joe from Staten Island.
Excuse me. My name is.
Would you like to may reiterate it?
My name is.
Have you heard it? Excuse me.
My name is.
Joe from Staten Island.
All right, Joe. Now it's official. You're on the air.
Yes, thank you. So tomorrow at 12 o'clock, you'll be on the air live with Dr. Bauman on thebaldtruth.com.
12 noon. And I'm hoping Andrew Zarian's going to be sober for this one. So, Andrew, if you're listening, man, we need you tomorrow. Andrew's running the show. 12 noon till 1-ish, on here on the West Coast. Is it 12 noon? No, I'm sorry, 12 noon on the East. Is it 12 noon East Coast? Oh, shit, so that's 9 o'clock in the morning for me.
Oh, it's too early for you, man.
Holy. Dr. B, if you're listening, man, I got to cancel. I can't do that. No, I just realized.
Should I call your house and wake you up, man?
No, I just realized it's 9 o'clock in the morning. No, listen, I'm up at 6, but, I got to rearrange my day. I don't know why I was thinking 12 noon on the West Coast. Anyway, it's 12 noon on the East Coast tomorrow. So that's 9 a.m. my time. God, these guys got me working. Can't stand it.
Well, you have your Sundays off now. You got to work two nights in a row, 2 days in a row, man. I mean, it's a little too much.
2 days in a row, plus Fridays. And I'm actually going to be doing a Thursday night program coming out soon, which is not hair related, which I'll tell you guys about at some point.
Well, tell me about it. I'll make it hair related if I call up.
No way. You're not invited, dude. You could listen, but there's no hair talk on this show. You're going to ruin me, dude. Who's this guy Joe from Staten Island coming from show to show to show? That's what everyone's asking.
He's Stretch's biggest fan. People in the chat room, the minute I give news on allergy and L'Oreal, which you.
People want to know what I do during. People want to know what I do during the week. Well, I have my tennis lessons, and I work out, and I go horseback riding. I mean, what do you think I do during the week? I have to work like a dog in order to support this household. People think I just turn on this camera, turn on my mic, and that's it. I'm making money. Anyway, go ahead, Joe.
Well, maybe your wife should work part-time to help you out a little bit,
My wife works hard. Don't worry about that.
Oh, all right. I mean, I know. I guess she helps you out with the Bald Truth and everything.
She is a big part of what we do and some other stuff that we're involved in. So.
Yes, I know. I know that she helps you a lot. I was just trying to bring a little humor to a depressing evening.
It's not depressing.
I was just being kidding. I know your wife.
I know.
So much for you.
So let's go.
She's absolutely beautiful. She's great. Are people demanding news from L'Oreal and the news on allergy? May I give what I have tonight? They had a lot of sufferers go crazy in the chat room.
I want to hear about it.
All right. First, let me get to L'Oreal news. They put out a press release this week discussing the new product, Neogenic. They was discussing some of the science behind it. I'll make it very short.
Please.
They said their Neogenic product mimics hypoxia, which is a low oxygen environment to the hair cells. It stimulates CD34 stem cells in the hair follicle. It promotes PGE2, EP1 receptors, similar to what prostaglandin like Latisse does. So supposedly, there's some type, I'm not saying it works, it doesn't work. There's supposedly some type of science behind this. Well, what I find most impressive about L'Oreal is they know how to circumvent the FDA. You say your product is cosmetic and put it out there. This is what impresses me most about them.
You can do this. You can do the same thing, Joe. You can get some ingredients that we know are already approved for use in man, cosmetically. Throw some shit together and sell it as a cosmetic. Take out a shingle, you'll make plenty of money.
I guess people probably would buy it.
They would.
I grew my hair.
Absolutely, dude. You could stand in the corner, Joe from Staten Island's, a hair loss potion, and there are going to be plenty of idiots that will buy it.
But I'm like you, I could never do that. You could do it 1,000-fold compared to what I could do. I mean, you're a lot more famous than I am, you know.
Joe, you can. I'm telling you. If you went on the message forum and said, "Listen, I'm telling you, I found the cure for hair loss. I don't care what anybody says. I need a minimal amount of money to deliver it to you guys. If you can send me $10.95 and and postage, I'll send this to you. You will get like 100,000 people sending you money. That's just the way that it is.
Or maybe we could work something out. I'll give you a 30% cut. How's that sound? You can be promoting me on the show.
Hey, look, you never know. It comes a day, Who knows? When the day comes when I have to sell out, I'll let you guys know. I'll be like, later, mother effers. What?
Kiss your feet. You know that.
I'll be like, later, suckers. I'm out of here.
No, that's the truth. You could sell anything you want. People would buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know anything. I think there would be a large percentage of people who would, I mean, sometimes I think this is what I think sometimes, Joe. Why do I continue to do what I do when I get so much bullshit online? I might as well just do what these guys think I'm doing.
But you gotta embrace your haters because most people love you. It's just a few psychotics.
I know that. And I do embrace my haters. I really do. And we're joking about Billy. I mean, that's nothing. The guy was busting on my Tourette's. It is what it is.
I mean, I was pretty upset about the whole thing. I mean, I was really getting crazy there from people talking, saying bad things about you. When they attack you, I feel like an axe is going through my heart, and sometimes I just start to cry a little bit. I break down. It's really hard for me.
Come on, man.
I'm sorry, man. It's just, I don't know. Just everything's getting to be too much. I'm sorry.
Who is DoesNizorelHelp? That's interesting.
Yeah, the Nizorel, I don't know.
No, he's kind of.
Yeah, I was talking with him.
He's kind of in the know. He's kind of in the know.
Yeah, he seems pretty. We and him have been talking back and forth. It seems pretty informative. He was the guy demanding information on neogenic and what do you call it, and allergen. He's very in the know. Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, he's been on for a while.
But just seeing what he just wrote, it looks like he might have been a victim of somebody out there at some point. Wow.
I don't know. They want to know about Gail Norton. Well, Gail Norton will be addressing the ISHRS conference in October in the Bahamas, as you know, Spencer. It's supposed to be making some type of announcement. I don't know what it's going to be,
Yeah. Well, we will hopefully be able to get some of those pictures that Dr. Ziering talked about and promised us. I have to contact him next week, and hopefully we can get some of that up.
Yeah, that's from Japan. He said he had pictures from Japan. He said that when you interviewed him, I think last month. That's what he said. Maybe he can get them up.
Hold on. I'm reading what these guys are talking about in the chat room. So, Norwood, you read the attorney's complaint. Did you read the verdict? That's interesting. It's funny because when you're involved in a lawsuit, it's all public record. So if people look that shit up, they find it. That's really interesting.
Yeah, Norwood. I have to say, Norwood is a very, very smart guy. And I wanted to welcome Luigi from Mexico. He joined the forum. I don't know if you're aware of that, about 3 weeks ago.
Luigi? No.
Yes, Luigi from Mexico.
Welcome.
Yeah, and Norwood, I appreciate that, Norwood. Norwood just told me he loves me. Is that in a sexual way, Norwood? I'm not sure. What is your preference, man? I'm just kidding. I'm only kidding. Be careful what I say on the air.
Yeah. Well,
I was just making a joke. Let me get very quickly to the Allergan news. On August 1st, Allergan is going to have a quarterly conference call. They're supposedly going to announce something about the Phase 2 result and their Phase 2 trials, what the effects, how effective that piece is or isn't.
Okay.
That's all the information I have. I don't have all the information these guys on the forum supposedly have.
Well, that's great. That's great information. The fact that you come to the table and you're dealing with a possible illness, and you still are such a diehard advocate for hair loss sufferers. I don't know if people really. I saw the way people showed you some real love on the forum.
Yes, I cried all week.
You're doing research for yourself, but you're bringing it to the table, and you want people to get as much information, especially those who aren't doing the internet research, as they can. And someone said something interesting in the forum that that even though Joe is Joe, and he may have some very, and I'm paraphrasing here, might have some very harsh or staunch views on things. There's a little bit of Joe in all of us.
Yes.
And Joe, that's the truth. I mean, there's a reason why I keep you on this program for all these years, even though there are some guys who are like, Joe's depressing, and when I was doing terrestrial radio, the producers and everybody's like, you shouldn't let this guy call in every time, this and that. I do it because we love you here, but I know that what you're feeling and what you're voicing, and as crazy as it is sometimes, and I'm not saying you're crazy, but as over the top as it is sometimes, you're speaking for most of us. There's a little bit of you in all of us.
Yes, that guy put it very, put it very well. I appreciate, all the emails. The bottom line is my prognosis, is really not that good.
Well, tell me about your prognosis. Tell me about what's going on.
Well, I'll just make it very brief. The kidneys I'm not sure about, but the heart is failing. It's just, it's not a good prognosis, but.
Well, tell me. I know what you're more interested in, but we're interested in this. What do you mean your heart is failing? What can be done for you?
Well, I need maybe an open heart surgical procedure, but I'm not ready to undergo that right now.
And there's nothing else that they can do besides open heart? What about, do you have stents in your heart right now?
Yeah, several stents, different medications and things like that, but I don't know, I'm just not up to it right now. I'm too busy with my hair work, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm not going to tell you to go have open heart surgery, but what I will tell you is that I really believe there's a book that Bill Clinton wrote. I don't know the title of it, but
who's Bill Clinton?
the former president, Bill Clinton.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Yeah.
And he was able to reverse his heart disease significantly with diet. And he has a specific diet in this book, and he wrote all about it. And it's definitely something you should pick up. I'll look it up and see if I can find it for you.
No, I've heard of it.
Okay.
Maybe I should modify my diet from 8 steaks a day.
Well, I think that if you did modify your diet, that you would see a tremendous reversal, significant reversal of the heart damage. This diet actually, they claim that it can actually reverse some of the damage. So, if you're interested in living and seeing and living. And finally, being able to, I'm not going to say you're going to be able to do this, but, hopefully seeing the cure for hair loss, the cure that would, help you out. I mean, I'm talking about, bring you back to an World War II or something. You got to be around to see that, Joe. And, people need you around just to talk to them on Tuesday nights.
Well, I intend to, be around for a while, but I tell my wife if something happens to me, she better call the show, and she has to call you up, call the show and tell her and make the announcement. And just do me a favor, just don't forget me. Just once in a while, play my opening or something like that.
Joe, do you think we're going to forget you, man? We'll go to your funeral and we'll stream it on the Bald Truth.
No, I wouldn't expect that because it'll be.
We're going to get some. We'll get some bagpipers to play the theme Joe from Staten Island opening if we can figure that out.
No, but I did tell my wife I gave her the copy of the autographed copy of the Bald Truth you gave me. Remember that when we met at that steakhouse?
Yeah.
I wanted to be buried with that, and I'm not kidding.
Oh Jesus! I gotta go. Now I have to leave.
Yeah, that's true, man.
You want to be buried with an autographed copy of the Bald Truth?
Yeah, well, you personally autographed me. You remember that in the restaurant?
You know what I think? I think you can probably, since it's Joe from Staten Island's autographed copy, I think that if it's in good shape, eventually it's going to be worth some money, and maybe you can give that to your kid.
Well, that's the bottom line. Well, maybe tomorrow when I try to call in, have ask Dr. Bauman what's going on with ACL, PRP, and Latisse. Last year ACL, PRP was a big thing for transplants. Now it seems to be off the radar. Like it's all forgotten.
I don't think it's forgotten. I know that John Cole is still working on it. He seems to think that I have no interest in knowing. he wrote this publicly, I don't know why, in knowing what's going on with his ACell treatment. That's not true. John can come on the program anytime. He's a accepted member of the IHRS, and I'd love to have him share his stuff with us, but that just hasn't happened. I know that Joe Greco down in Tampa is having a lot of success with PRP. Our friend Marcus has been there several times. He's a fan. There's some other callers to the Ball of Truth that have been using PRP consistently. There's someone in my personal life who flies from New York consistently down to Tampa to have it done, and she believes that it's really helped her. And the last time that I saw her in New York, I was like, you know what? I think it's working. And so I think there's definitely something to it. So I don't think it's something that we should give up on.
Well, according to John Cole, he's claiming a donor regeneration of like over 50% in many patients using ACell.
Look, I hope that's the case. I like John, and he's definitely a great hair transplant surgeon. That's why we recommend him. That's what I, am comfortable with as far as if someone's going to have a hair transplant with John Cole. I think for the most part, 99.9% of the patients he has stellar results. So, that's why we recommend him. As far as the hair regeneration or hair follicle regeneration, I haven't seen it yet, but there's no reason for him to say that it's happening if it's not happening. You know what I mean, Joe? How's that?
IHRS doctor, remember your organization is claiming donor regeneration, But I haven't heard from Dr. Cooley. He seems to be going off the radar. So I don't know what to make of it.
Well, I don't actually. It's funny that you say that. I'm reading the chat, and so I'm doing a radio show, and it's so different when you're doing just internet broadcasting. You have a chat, and you're trying to run the broadcast and then be involved in the chat. It's hard to be involved in the chat. So guys who are asking questions or want me to respond right away, just you got to bear with me. But as far as Dr. Cooley's concerned, I was in contact with him. It must have been about a month ago. He has apologized to me on several occasions, saying that he's going to get some great information to us through the Ball Truth and through the IHRS website and Ball Truth Talk about what's been happening this last year. What's that? Hello? Is that you, Joe?
Yes, about.
Yeah. So.
In front of the computer about what? I didn't get that.
About what's happening with his PRP and hair plucking. I mean, his ACell and hair plucking. He's telling me that he has some pretty significant stuff that he wants to share with everybody. So I haven't seen it yet. He's going to be sending me some information. Let's hope that it is as promising and as impressive as he is relaying to me over the phone.
So they're saying that he's having results with it. Well, that's very encouraging.
He is telling me that he's telling me that he's having results with it, but he hasn't been after what's been transpiring over the last couple of years since he initially came on the Ball Truth and presented his stuff through the IHRS. There were a lot of doctors who kind of jumped on it. He didn't get all the results that he was hoping for initially, so there was some disappointment out there in the world, the online world, and that can be devastating to somebody. It can be devastating to the person's practice. It can be devastating to the technology as a whole, because then people are all of a sudden they're thinking, you know what? This is bullshit. It's just some marketing scheme. So I think he wanted to pull back the reins a little bit and, do a little bit of more in-house, clinical research, and then come out and say, okay, this is what we have, with really good documentation. That's what he's working on right now. And I hope that we can get something by the end of summer to share with everybody.
Well, that's pretty exciting news.
Well, I don't want you guys to get overly excited again, because I think you guys get overly excited initially with ACell. When I embrace something, when I say this looks really promising, that is somehow spun into Kobren is claiming that this is the cure for hair loss. And then, Kobren's bullshitting again, or Kobren is, whatever, I try to be very tempered, and I try to just let you guys know I may be excited about something, but that's just my excitement. That's my exuberance. That's my, hope that we're getting closer to something, and I want to share that with you guys. But then that could be misconstrued. So I really always have to kind of just say, okay, we're presenting this to you guys. This is what these doctors are claiming. I think it's exciting, but it may not work.
Well, as the detractors say, you're trying to suppress the cure for hair loss, but everything you do contradicts those statements.
Yeah, this guy wants to know, DoesNizorelHelp wants to know why do I have to justify my actions all the time. It does get old. It does get old, but you know what? I have to do it for several reasons. It's not even justifying my actions. It's just trying to explain what it's like to be me and to do this broadcast and to deal with everything that you deal with when you are involved with people who are, just overwhelmed with an emotional disease of the spirit like hair loss. So there's so many desperate people out there, and they're hoping against hope, and they're hinging on your every word. And people get frustrated, they get upset. They, because things aren't happening quickly, they think that I have something to do with it. Or, I'm just bringing the news to you guys. I'm just doing what I do best, and that is trying to guide people in a safe direction, and elevate this field as a whole, and try to keep people away from the real scumbags. And it's not easy.
I know people, people just don't get it. I've known you for 14 years, and I can't offer one have anything negative say about you. All you try to do is help.
Well, I would say that
listen,
the way that it is, the real negative stuff, the real negative stuff that's been put out there about me are really by people in the industry who are harmed by my very existence, and I get that. That makes sense. What doesn't make sense is some of the consumers that will then take this information and maybe repost it on a message forum or think that there's some sort of validity to this stuff when, there are thousands and thousands of articles out there about what we do here at The Bald Truth. And, and that's the reality of the situation. When you read something on a message forum or you read something on somebody's blog and there's no, documentation to back it up, there's no, real press reports, there's no real evidence of any kind, whether it's about me or whether it's about Joe from Staten Island or whatever, you have to take it with a grain of salt and understand that this is the nature of the internet. But there are some guys out there that they're not the sharpest tools in the shed, and they think that, what they read online is the gospel. Now, with that said, even the stuff that I'm saying about Dr. Cooley or about, Dr. Greco, about what's happening in the world of hair loss, you have to look at that and say, listen, this is what Kobren's saying because this is the information that he's being presented with, and he's trying to get this out to the public. I still have to do my own due diligence. I mean, if I was on the other side of the camera and I was looking, in at this broadcast, I would say, you know what, this is great stuff, but I'm still going to do my research, and I'm going to find as much information as I can. But the one place that's difficult to do your research, in my view, is on the message forums. Message forums are incredible if they're used correctly. I believe Bald Truth Talk is an incredible resource, but even on our message forum, because we allow the free flow of information, we're not trying to stifle people's ability to communicate. We allow these people's opinions, even though a lot of times they're just completely incorrect, and a lot of it could be nonsense that's being posted online, especially by some of the young posters who kind of think they're experts when in fact they're just a guy behind their keyboard getting the information that everyone else can get online, and they don't really have any inside information. So sometimes that concerns me when the newbies come on board and read some of this stuff. And I see Tracy C is in the chat, and she gets a lot of shit. I read what people write about her. I can't even believe how willing she is to just move past it and just help people. And I admire that. She definitely has some friends on Bald Truth Talk. There was a thread started about her about giving respect to Tracy C or something like that, and I thought that was great. But even in that thread, there were guys who were still not having it. And I think Tracy is, and I'm not just trying to stroke you, Tracy, I think you're a great person. You've called the show before, and I've read a lot of your posts. You take the time to help people. It's amazing. You're giving back, and you just keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a great job. You have the right to post what you're posting because you're posting legitimate information. And while some people may think some of your opinions are strong, I'd say 99.9% of the stuff that I've read that you've written is completely accurate, and it's really the basis of, in my view, guiding people in the right direction to help themselves. So I think you're doing a good job.
One thing Tracy says is inaccurate, if I may interject myself.
Yeah.
Interrupt you.
Go ahead.
You said I was radical. That kind of hurt me.
You are radical, in many respects, Joe. But that's part of your personality. That's part of why we love you on the show. You know.
Oh, I appreciate that.
That's true. Being radical isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you're staunch, you know, when it comes to your views on things, and I don't agree with all of them. You know, like I said, we love you here, Joe, but I disagree with some of your, you know, some of the lunacy that you kind of put out there about hair loss and you comparing it to, you know, you not caring about your health because of your hair loss and, you know, the way that your kids are involved in the whole hair loss thing and the way just the way you've allowed it to destroy your life. I understand it, but I don't agree with everything that you tell people. But
I
what it is.
That, so,
yeah.
But I have to say, I do agree with everything you say. I can't criticize anything you say. I agree with everything you say.
But you don't have to, and I appreciate you saying that. But, you know, I mean, there have been times when you disagree with me and you said it, and you have the right to do that.
No, I disagree with you one point. I feel that hair loss is the most serious disease going, and you don't agree with that. So I can understand that.
Yeah.
Of course, but I've known you for 14 years, man. All I could say is you're a stand-up guy, and you've tried to help me out all these years. You know, I appreciate all you've done for me, man.
Dude, I do the best that I can, but I'm going to have to put you on hold and take a break.
Okay.
The phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. I'm Spencer Kobren. Need to take a quick break, but I'll be right back after these messages. So stay with us.
Hey, the Red Rocker Sammy Hagar.
And Michael Anthony.
You're listening to the baldest on the planet, Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth. Woo!
You kind of have an effect on people, you know. You bring them around.
Well, hey guys, welcome back. I need to turn my mic on, I guess, before I start to speak. 888-659-3727. Yeah, I mean, dude, DoesNizorelHelp? Call in and tell your story. It's toll free, 888-659-3727, and we'll get you on the air. Would love to hear from guys in the chat. I got to tell you, no matter what I try to do with this air conditioning, it's so hot here in Southern California, it's insane. The shirt's sticking to me. I feel very uncomfortable at this point. Let me pot Joe up. Hey, Joe.
Does your air conditioning work in your studio, Spencer?
You know, it does, but it's so hot in here right now, especially with the lights and the fact that it's over 100 degrees. It's just, if I didn't have it on, I'd be totally, I couldn't do the show.
You seem to be perspiring.
Thank you for noticing. So I got the Tourette's comment, the bald paint, the bald spot paint issue, and now that you're noticing I'm sweating. And someone said that my goatee looked like a jailhouse pussy.
Spencer, I didn't mean it like that.
Joe, come on. Can I joke with you, man? I know you don't give a shit. I know you're not making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you. You know how fragile I am, Spencer. I'm just kidding with you. You're hardly sweating at all.
I know. Listen, I know you're kidding with me, and I want you to know that you can kid with me. I'm just kidding. I'm just throwing the barbs back.
Oh, thank you. But it's really amazing how on screen you have absolutely no gray in your hair, and in person it's totally different. It's crazy.
Again, here we go. More insults.
No, I didn't.
No,
do that.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
In person, you'll have some gray hair.
I have not some gray. I'm salt and pepper. I'm about, I'd say, at least 30% gray, maybe 40% gray.
I'd say 20 to 25%, maybe.
Whatever it is. I'm not dyeing it. Oh. Andrew Zarian wants me to dye my hair because for whatever reason, maybe he's a little concerned that we work together and I'm so much older than he is, and he doesn't want, it's killing him. He doesn't want me to be older. He wants me to stay a kid. Not going to happen. I'm not dyeing my hair. I'm not. Are you there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've been here for 14 years.
I'm not dyeing my hair. I'm not dyeing my goatee. If at some like today it looks particularly combed over, I'm keeping it the way that it is. As long as I can keep what I have, I'm happy. Almost. I'm 47 years old, for crying out loud.
A lot of hair suffers of the man you shave your head, Spencer. Have you ever hear that one?
No, listen. If the price is right, I'll do it. If all you guys want to get together and collect, I don't know, 5 million, that's not a lot for all the guys that are listening to the program. Put in $10 each. I'll shave my head on the air, and I'll let it grow out in front of you guys over the course of a year.
It's very interesting. To me, it's a strange topic. Someone made a very interesting comment today on one of the forums.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Steve Bauman from Microsoft?
I am.
I'm sure you're very familiar with him.
I am familiar with him.
The guy's like a Noah 8 who can't be helped by anyone. And they're wondering why someone with these billions of dollars does not, put his money into hair research and claim credit for the person who's cured hair loss. They can't comprehend that.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that?
Say that again. I don't know what you're talking about. Say it in English this time.
Well, you Steve Ballmer of Microsoft, the multi-billionaire, as you know.
I do know that.
And the guy's like a Noah 8.
Okay.
And people are saying, why doesn't someone like himself throw money into Histogen, Reposol, these companies, and claim credit for the person who's cured hair loss? And he'll be more famous than he is now.
That's true.
I mean, are these guys interested? They don't care. I mean,
I don't think it's as. I don't think it's as.
I
don't think it's something that is something that they realize they should focus on or even want to focus on. Look, I'm going to take a couple of phone calls, Joe. I'm going to keep you potted
up. You give
up.
me so much time today. I really appreciate it. You know what? Give me a little bit of lift time, a little bit less miserable.
All right, I'll keep you potted up. All right.
Thank you. I'll be quiet. Thank you.
I got to hang up on that guy. 888-659-3727. I think I hung up on everybody just now. Did I hang up on you, Joe?
No.
Okay.
Did I call back? So, there's
all right, DoesNizorelHelp, call in. You were on hold. That's why you hear the show. That's what happens. I pot you up for a second, put you on hold, and you're going to be you listen to the program until I say hello to you. That's how it works. Go ahead, Joe.
That's amazing. A lot of these intelligent people in the chat room, they're afraid to call in for some reason. What are they? Are they shy? Are they talking in front of millions of people? Is that what it is?
You know what I've learned is there's a different crowd that calls radio shows compared to the guys that are interested in chatting. Or even if I opened up a Skype line, some people are more comfortable Skyping in than actually picking up the phone and calling in. It's a weird phenomenon. I don't really understand it. I mean, everyone's anonymous. So I'm just going to pick this up cold. All right, Joe?
Of course.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this? Hey, what's up, man? You're on the air. I can hear myself in the background.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, I just want to say there's nothing wrong with you here, man. I mean, have you seen Prince William's here?
Who am I speaking with, man?
Moses.
All right, and where are you calling from?
New Zealand.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, Moses. I appreciate you saying that. It's a little bit of a sham, the way that I give myself the appearance of a full head of hair, but I do feel very fortunate.
Yeah, like Prince William's like half your age, and he's already bald.
How dare you? Half my age? No, he's pretty young. Well, yeah, but he's also Prince William. And the sad part is that the world focuses on this poor guy's hair.
Yeah.
He's a fucking prince, for crying out loud, and all they focus on is this poor guy's, diminishing looks and his receding hairline.
Yeah.
It's horrible. How old are you?
16.
You're 16 years old. What are you doing watching The Bald Show?
It just came up on my homepage.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for calling, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
See you later.
Take it easy. All right, let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, am I on the air?
You are. Who's this?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm DoesNizorelHelp. You,
Hey, what's up, DoesNizorelHelp?
Hey.
What's going on?
Nothing. I just wanted to call in to let everyone know that, I see a lot of people scared to take Propecia, and, I just want to say from personal experience, I think it's helped me a lot, and I know that I started taking when I was 18, and
Let me ask you, how old are you now?
I'm 23.
All right. And you were not consumed with the possible side effects, and you kind of just went into it and took it?
Honest to God, like, my doctor never told me about any of this. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's an interesting point, because not that you shouldn't have known about the possible side effects, but, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been on the drug for a long time. Most of my friends are on the drug. From a personal standpoint, everyone that I know is taking the drug has never even experienced any adverse side effects. With that said, the thousands of people that have contacted me over the years, through the show, through my books, through my resources, really this panic hasn't really started to begin maybe 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. And there wasn't a lot of talk about and fear about long-term adverse side effects and permanent impotence and things like that. Now, I'm not saying that these guys who are dealing with it aren't dealing with it, that it doesn't happen. But I think more guys are suffering from it. Young guys are suffering from it because they are so afraid that it's going to happen. So in your case, you never thought about it. So, I mean, you're living a success story right now with Propecia.
Right. So I saw on the news, like Fox News, you see these late-night commercials talking about potential side effects. And I didn't really listen to them. I just kept on taking it. And right now, my brother at my same age, he was, say, a Norwood 3, and I haven't really lost very much hair. I'm still halfway to a Norwood 1.
Right.
And I take 0.5 dutasteride right now. I just started that 3 weeks ago. I take 2.5 milligrams of finasteride every day, and I haven't noticed really any difference at all. So for all those people that are scared out there, I mean, you might just want to give it a try and try with Propecia first. I mean, if it only stays in your system for 1 day, then, you might not have that much to lose because you have a 98% chance of it helping you out.
Well, there are guys, it's about an 86% chance that it's actually going to work for you. But there are guys out there who are just so deathly afraid. When you see the Propecia conversations on Bald Truth Talk, sometimes I read it and I cringe because, I think it's very important that people are aware of the potential side effects. And it's great that some of this information not some of it, but all this information is being put out there. But it's the way in which it's being put out there. I think people just need to be educated and understand, okay, this can happen. But the majority of people who are talking about it, the guys that spend time on the message forums talking about it, are the guys who were affected by it. The vast majority of people out there who are using this drug have no adverse side effects clinically and are not suffering from these long-term side effects. So they're not going online writing about their positive experiences. It's the guys that are affected by it, adversely affected by whatever it is in life, that go online and complain and talk about this stuff. I think it's important.
I'm sorry. I'm not very lucid tonight. I meant 98% don't have side effects. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You sound pretty lucid to me. So I think that, listen, I'm very cautious at this point in telling people, and I've always said, listen, it's a drug no matter what. I recommend it for myself and for my friends. This is my experience. I think your best bet is to get on a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor to prevent further hair loss or even to regrow some hair. That's all we have right now. If you're not taking it, then you're doing yourself, in my view, a disservice as far as, really trying to combat your hair loss to the best of your ability. But with that said, you may be one of the guys that get the side effects. So you have to be aware that it's a possibility. And it's like anything else in life. When you pop that aspirin for the first time, when somebody, your mother gives you an aspirin or a fever reducer, you can have a tremendous allergic reaction. You can have anaphylactic shock. People are allergic to penicillin. People have adverse side effects. What about guys who are taking Viagra? What's funny about Viagra? Viagra is supposedly, for a certain percentage of people, making them blind.
Wow.
But no one is worried. There's no message forums out there and sites dedicated to the guys going blind from Viagra. And frankly, guys are they're willing to take the risk to go blind if they think that it's going to help them, perform in bed.
That's incredible. I wouldn't even take that risk for my hair. And me and Joe from Staten Island might be on the same page. I'm not sure if he'd be willing to go blind either. That's incredible.
I don't know, Joe. Would you be willing to go blind for your hair?
Have I fired it up?
You are.
Well, you don't answer that question. I gouge my eyes out that hair, man.
Yeah, but how you wouldn't be able to enjoy it? That doesn't make any sense, dude. What are you talking about?
I'd be a quadriplegic to have hair, Nizerel, man. You don't know how I suffer, man. I've been suffering this for 35 years. Believe me, you wouldn't want to live the life I live, my friend. Believe me.
I know that, Joe.
I mean, you did have a nice, successful career from what it sounds like, and I don't know, but I mean, you need your eyes, definitely. So.
Well, in my opinion, nothing's more important than hair. I was a cop for 20 years. I wouldn't exactly say that was a successful career, man.
Well, I think it's pretty successful. But, guys, I actually have to close up shop. I have about 4 minutes to the end of the hour, and I have to get out of here. Listen, what's your name? You don't have to give me your real name, but what can I call you besides what you're saying, who you're saying you are?
I'm fine with giving out my real name. I'm Andrew.
Andrew, listen, where are you calling from, by the way?
From St. Louis, middle of the country.
All right, man. Well, listen, I'm glad that you've tuned into the Bald Truth. I'm glad you're a fan of the show and that you come in and join the chat. You should share your Propecia story on Bald Truth Talk and let the young guys know that you're a guy who's succeeding with 5-alpha reductase inhibitors and, tell your story. I think a positive story is important, and there's not enough positive stories out there.
It only worked for 5 years. I've had to switch because after 5 years, I noticed my hair started falling out and the hair on my legs and arms started getting really thick again. And, it just wasn't working after 5 years.
Well, you know what? Sometimes, the genetics are just so strong, especially if you start losing hair at such a young age, that seems to be the case. There are people who will up their dosage. You said you're taking 2.5. There are people that up it to 5 before they go into, or even up to 7.5 before they go on to dutasteride. But you said you just started dutasteride. So, we're going to see how that works with you. You should definitely keep us posted with that. But,
yes, sir.
Tell your story, man. Young guys need to hear it.
Great.
All right, man. Listen, thanks so much for calling in.
Well, I'm glad, and you have a great radio show, and I'm glad I was able to somehow get on the air tonight. So.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. Actually, since we switched, I don't think there seems to be, we used to be on Sundays, obviously. Last couple of nights, the phones have been a little bit less busy than normal. The first hour is very busy. So, I'm glad that you called to, tell your story, and I appreciate you taking the time to do everything that you're doing as far as watching the show. And, just young guys out there need guys like you for guidance. I'm an old guy. They listen to me, and they're like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. They need to hear it from their peers. You know what I mean?
Right. So I'm just glad you're a consumer advocate, and I've heard a lot of your laser talks, and the doctors you had on is very informative. And I'm just glad that I've had the ability to listen to a lot of the stuff on your program. Wow. I believe it has helped me. But I had one question. Do you think Nizerel does help?
You know what? There's clinical data showing that Nizerel will help to lower DHT in the scalp, which is great. Some doctors I really respect believe that it helps. I don't think it's going to do you any harm, but there are some guys who start to use the product and they go through an initial shed as well. So I wouldn't jump on it and use it every day. Use it as directed. I do think that it can help. Do I think that it's something that's going to be a substitute for finasteride or dutasteride? No. But there is clinical evidence showing that it can help, at least in reversing the miniaturization process.
So it's a good auxiliary, right?
I would say so. I would say it's something that can definitely be used with your regimen, and it could provide a positive response.
Okay, well, I don't want to take up any more of your airtime. I know you got to go, but I'm very happy I was able to reach you tonight, and I hope you have a great week.
All right, man. Listen, thanks so much. Nice talking to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, guys. Joe, listen, I got to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. Second Tuesday night broadcast, and it was great, man. I'm really enjoying, I can't speak again, really enjoying doing the show on Tuesdays, and I'm already seeing actually the numbers of the broadcast grow. I just want people to call in so that we can keep the conversation flowing.
Yes, it's much better on Tuesdays, man. It's much more prime time.
You got it, Joe. You're prime time
now. All I
now.
have to say is 3 seconds. You are truly a gift from God. Thank you, Spencer Kobren.
All right, bro. I appreciate it. Guys, let me give out the websites. And Joe, by the way, just let me know what's happening with your health. We're all thinking about you, all right?
I appreciate that, man. God bless you, man.
All right, you too. God bless you. The website's thebaldtruth.com, IAHRS.org, of course, AmericanHairLoss.org. If you want to check out our message forum, interact with other hair loss sufferers, just share and vent. It's a great place. It's baldtruthtalk.com. And if you're a woman dealing with hair loss, please check out womenshairlossproject.com. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.